Good evening, I'm Brian Reagan. This is
Tyler Kelly.
Welcome to our Twilight Talks. Tonight we're in Galatians chapter 2, verses 7 through 11. Tyler?
But on the contrary, when they saw the gospel for the uncircumcised had been committed to me, as the gospel for the circumcised was to Peter, for he who worked effectively in Peter for the apostleship to the circumcised also worked effectively in me toward the Gentiles. And when James, Cephas, and John, who seemed to be pillars, perceived the grace that had been given to me, they gave me and Barnabas the right hand of fellowship, that we should go to the Gentiles and they to the circumcised. They desired only that we should remember the poor, the very thing which I also was eager to do. Now when Peter had come to Antioch, I withstood him to his face, because he was to be blamed. For before certain men came from James, he would eat with the Gentiles, but when they came, he withdrew and separated himself, fearing those who were of the circumcision.
All right. Now, if you're watching this and you're familiar with Galatians, you know a little bit about what happened there. But a question came to me from one of our church members who was reading Galatians, and because this would be where some of you would be in your reading coming up on this right now, why use Peter and Cephas? Why use both names? And I think, and I spent a few hours researching this, Tyler, after one of our members asked me, and most people have absolutely no one touches it with 10-foot pole. And the handful of explanations that I've heard, they try and say, well, the Aramaic really means this and the Greek means that. Well, that's fantastic. How many Greeks knew Aramaic? So I've got a letter written in Greek using an Aramaic word to make an argument that 2,000 years later, nobody would have made back then. That's just no. But if I've got Jews and I've got Greeks in the Galatian churches, Galatia was a state with a bunch of churches in it. Okay. Now, might I have people who are of Grecian descent as well as people who are of Jewish descent?
Yes, sir.
Yes. And so my Jews would have known Aramaic. My Greeks would have known Greek. And I think that the Holy Spirit, not Paul, the Holy Spirit, is reaffirming Peter's position as the one to whom the keys were given by using both of his names. To you Jews, he is still Cephas. To you Greeks, he is still Petros. You say, but he had troubles. Yes, so what? The church in America would learn very well from the actual Bible church. So your minister screwed up. So he failed. Well, he did blah, 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 blah. We can't have that. The world will judge us. The world already hates us. How about you seek to please the Lord in how you handle your leaders more than you seek to satisfy the world? You see, Paul confronted Peter because Peter was wrong. But the Holy Spirit reaffirms that Peter is still Petros, Cephas, the stone. And so he is still the leader. His position has not changed in spite of his failure. God still used him. And then Paul and Peter continued forward